This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome into the FNIA podcast. We are served by Applebee's, and it is nice to be served in the warm, gentlemen. We were up there in Buffalo. Snow was coming in sideways. It is crazy from the pregame to the postgame. This is the postgame here. I mean, this made the pregame look like golf weather. Coach, you thawing down there in Florida? What's the case now?
I'm thawed out now. You see me with short sleeves on, but that was something there. It wasn't so cold, but just that snow kept coming, Jack. It was nonstop.
Coach, it almost seems like you've gotten tougher since you retired, man. I know you used to be in that
tougher because
cozy
I don't have
dome.
to play in it. Yeah.
We were layered up. It was really cool to be there, though, because we kept thinking the snow was going to stop. And it just never stopped. And not only did it not stop, it just kept picking up and picking up and picking up. And that was bad for San Francisco. And that was good for Buffalo, Coach.
And how about when we came out into the stadium and we saw all that snow in the stands, and you say, who in the world is going to be, nobody's going to come and sit in this. And there's 80,000 people screaming and hollering like it's no big deal.
That's
it.
it.
Like it's a heck of an experience, Jack.
The cool thing is how all those guys will, whoever gets to the row first, they would clear not only their seat, they'd clear the whole row for everybody else that they hang out with. I mean, that's what's so cool about Buffalo. I mean, the guy that drove us after the game to the airport, I go, he's such a huge fan. You could tell. I go, man, you probably would have been going to the game tonight if you hadn't been working. And he goes, no. I went to the game. I just left with 3 minutes left and all my clothes in this bag right here. I'm like, that is Buffalo. So it was really cool. Let's get into this, guys, because we had Trevor Lawrence who took this big hit, and we were watching this on Sunday, and we didn't know if Al-Shaair would end up getting a suspension or how it would shake out. And not only did he get suspended, he gets a 3-game suspension for the hit on Trevor Lawrence that knocked him out. Rod, your reaction, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought it was actually a great call by the National Football League. I figured it was going to be at least 2 games and maybe more, maybe 3 games. And I think it was spot on because, I mean, I'm a guy that had over 1,100 tackles in my career. And I tell you, this was a dirty hit. This was intentional. He was coming full speed. And I know Trevor Lawrence is a big guy, but he sees this guy coming full speed at him. There's no way he's going to try to juke him. He tried to get down. Even if he slid a little bit late, the kid still came with malicious intent. I've seen him on the sideline hit guys, and it was definitely justified. 3 games is legit. They're trying to send a message to these players.
I agree with you, Rod. It was a late slide, and I always want to give the defender the benefit of the doubt. But even with the lateness of the slide, you have a chance now to go over the top or to avoid him. You didn't have to deliver it like that. And I think the league has to send a message with suspension because, as you know, you can find a guy, who knows what's going to happen with that money. Does the team take care of it or what? But when you lose playing time, that sends a message to players.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, well, more news that we got. The Bears president and Kevin Warren. Of course, there's going to be a head coaching search taking place there. And he said that this head coaching job will be the most coveted in the NFL. Coach Dungy, I know you know Kevin Warren. I know you know this job. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he's doing a good job of selling it. I think it is a good job. I don't know that it'll be the most coveted. I don't know what else is going to be open, but you have to look at a number of things. First of all, if I'm searching for a job, I'm looking at the environment there. And do I have a chance to win with everything that's around me, starting with the ownership, front office, fans, all of that. So take a look at that. And then look at the division you're in. You're playing in a division that has franchise quarterbacks and great teams in front of you. Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions. Those are excellent teams. You got to climb that ladder. So there's some impediments in the way there before you go saying, well, this is the best job in football.
Absolutely. And you got the number 1 pick. And a guy that I would be definitely targeting is offensive coordinator Ben Johnson within the division, a guy that knows about setting a culture, a guy that has proven that he can work with the quarterback, Jared Goff, and continue to elevate. And that's what the Bears need. They need an offensive-minded coach. They need somebody that can take Caleb Williams and really take this offense to the next level, bring some creativity to it, and in the offseason, add another player or 2 on the offensive side, continue to build that offensive line. And I think it's a good job. It's not the most desirable job.
And I agree with you. If I were the Bears, I would definitely be taking a look at Ben Johnson because of what he's done there and taking somebody from your division rival. But I hope they don't get locked into saying we've got to take a quarterback guru to develop Caleb Williams, because I think that's the wrong approach when you're looking for a head coach. Take a leader, take a winner, and that quarterback will get developed. I kind of think Bill Belichick helped develop Tom Brady. And Bill Belichick wasn't a quarterback guru. I'm not going to take a lot of credit for developing Peyton Manning, but I think we won some games and I helped him out, and I had nothing to do with the quarterbacks. Dan Campbell has changed the whole culture around, and their quarterback, Jared Goff, is developing. Dan Campbell was not a quarterback guru. Get people who are going to lead the team in the right way. They'll hire the right people to help the quarterback out. Yes, the Andy Reeds, the Sean Paytons, that's great, but those guys are leaders, and that's what you got to look for first and foremost. Don't get into the trap of, if we get somebody that can help Caleb Williams, then we're going to be all set.
Interesting. Really interesting thoughts. So who would be the most coveted candidate? I mean, I'd say it's conceivable that you're going to have 3 teams possibly go after Ben Johnson. I mean, he might end up really getting paid as a first-time head coach because he was a candidate last year. We'll see how they feel about him this year. Who is the most coveted candidate? Rod, I'll start with you here.
It's him. I just said it, Jack. It's him. It's Ben Johnson.
So Ben Johnson's one. Who's after him? If you need a coach.
I'm looking at Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is a guy that's proven that he continues to grow as a defensive coordinator, and he's gotten to the point where those guys have a lot of respect for him. And I think he feels comfortable. I think, Coach, that this is a guy that could potentially get in front of a team and be that leader. He has the credentials. Guys respect him. He's well respected around the league, and he continues to grow as a coach. I think he would be an excellent coach.
And I would say don't forget about the young guys who have done it and have brought something to the table already. I'm thinking of Mike Vrabel, guy who has won football games, has taken a team to the playoffs, has run an organization before. Mike Vrabel would be towards the top of my list as well.
Mike Vrabel would be excellent. I played with him. He's a really good guy. He works extremely hard, and he doesn't ask the players to do something that he's not willing to do. He's right there in the trenches with you. I love Mike Vrabel. That's an excellent call, Coach. I totally forgot about my buddy.
Interesting. Would the Jets make sense for Vrabel, Coach, or what team would you be thinking about when Vrabel's name comes up?
No. Let me answer that. Let me answer that real quick. No, I think that's a terrible fit. Mike Vrabel has a different personality, and the last thing he's going to have is somebody over his head, just micromanaging him. He doesn't work that way. If you hire Mike Vrabel, you have to give him the latitude to be ahead, to be a man, and to lead. He's an excellent leader. He's honest. He has integrity. He's one of the hardest working guys I've ever been around, one of the smartest deep defenders that I've been around. I love Mike Vrabel. Go ahead, Coach.
You just don't want to see him go to the Jets because that could be a bad situation. And, that's the other thing you have to look at, too, as Kevin Warren was talking about what's desirable. Well, who am I going to be working with? And how much leeway are they going to give me? And how much time are they going to give me? So, the Jets is open. Chicago's open right now. There'll be a couple of more. And if you're a Ben Johnson where you can pick and choose, those are the things you're going to be looking at. Not just who the quarterback is, not just how many draft choices you have, but who are you going to be working with?
Yeah. New Orleans open, Dallas potentially, the Giants potentially, the Jets. So there's going to be some opportunities for head coaches to slide in. We'll see where Belichick might fit into that equation as well. Monday Night Football. Was watching this. It's actually ended up really being an interesting game. The Browns have had this resurgence with Jameson Winston coming in there. He looked really good for a period of time. Maybe towards the end of the game, some of those mistakes came back. Rodney, I'll start with you. Watching this Monday Night Football game, Broncos get the win, but the Browns put up a good fight.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the Browns. I'm talking about the Denver Broncos defense, and I didn't like what I saw last night from their defense, Coach. How do you have a defense? And we talk about this is one of the top defenses in the league, and we got guys running free, blown coverages, miscommunications. And then, if you're going to run an exotic defense, you have to make sure that guys are communicating back there. I didn't like what I saw last night, giving up the big plays. Denver needs to fix that. And that goes to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph.
I would agree. And obviously, they've had some injuries in the secondary. They brought some guys in there who didn't perform last night. And I was surprised at that, how Cleveland moved the ball. Some bad throws by Jameis, bad decisions kind of bailed them out. But I tell you what, I was impressed with. I didn't know the Denver offense could be that explosive. I knew Cortland Sutton was a good receiver, and they had some tough backs. But they impressed me moving the ball against that Cleveland defense. So I came away excited about the Denver offense, but I'm like you, Rob. We got to get that defense shored up for this playoff run.
I was thinking, you have a cornerback in Patrick Surtain. You paid the guy just under $100 million. How do you not match him up against Jerry Jeudy? Move that guy around, move him to the left side, move him to the right side. And I just didn't understand it, Coach. You are a defense-minded coach. And the first thing I thought about was you. I said, I know Coach Dungy is just pulling his hair out. He's going crazy because they're letting one guy really literally destroy them.
And when you know Jerry Jeudy did all that talking before the game, he wants to have a big game. You know how Jameis is. He's going to force the ball to him. That's one guy if we don't cover anybody else on the field, we're going to cover Jerry Jeudy last night.
Yeah. Yeah. In Denver, they have themselves in good position now, sitting at 8-5. Let's see the AFC playoff picture. This is the updated AFC playoff picture. We mentioned on Sunday night there's a battle for that 1 seed now. Buffalo got the tiebreaker over Kansas City, but Coach, look at Denver now. Denver putting a little distance between themselves and the Colts, who are trying to run them down.
They really have. That was a big win last night to get to 8-5. You look at the Chargers now, they're playing the Chiefs, tough road game. The other two, Baltimore and Denver, have byes. So if the Chargers would lose in Kansas City, now all that whole group would be 8-5. And Denver, you're ready to make a run. So it is going to be interesting down the stretch, no question.
You're all good. All right, let's get to Applebee's. Who's eating good in the neighborhood? And who's eating good of these MVP candidates? We got Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and Jared Goff. And there's still some time to play here. There's still a little opportunity for movement. But Rodney, your MVP right now would be who and why?
Saquon Barkley, and I keep telling you guys every time we talk about this, I have not seen a guy more impressive than Saquon Barkley. You think about the energy and life that he's put into this team. They had no chance, and guys, I know you're going to agree with me, they had no chance to be where they're at right now, the number two seed in the NFC without Saquon Barkley. And think about this, Coach. If they don't have Saquon Barkley, I don't even know if Nick Sirianni right now would still be the head coach. They're probably chasing him out of town. But Saquon Barkley, he's been the most impressive player in the National Football League, Coach.
I agree with you. I think December is the month that determines MVPs. But you look at the top teams, the top 4 teams, who is the driving force behind them? Josh Allen has played tremendous football. But Saquon Barkley, if Philadelphia does not have Saquon, they are not where they are right now. They're not fighting for that number 1 seed. He does so much for them, and even from a mental standpoint. So right now at this point, he's getting my vote, but we want to see what happens. I'm still a Jared Goff fan too. Detroit is moving the ball. Goff is throwing over 70% completions. He's been fantastic. But Saquon, man, he's done so much for that team, that whole organization.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see the updated MVP odds as they sit right now. I just have a feeling that, so you see Josh Allen there with a little bit of distance by the betting odds. I have a weird feeling, though, if it becomes super close between Barkley and Allen, and you can make an easy case for Barkley in the year of the running back that we've seen, that they might do it with Saquon just to make sure that this award still has the ability to be a non-quarterback award. I mean, it has been quarterbacks for 12 straight years now. The last one was Adrian Peterson, like we mentioned on Sunday. It would really be fun to see a running back get back in the mix. But as you see, Josh right there with a little bit of lead. That's what those MVP odds look like. Let's get to the NFC playoff picture and talk about the NFC South. Atlanta or Tampa Bay? That's what it's coming down to. Tampa had to just grit one out to make sure they got that win. They're now 6-6 and 6-6. Rodney, how do you see the South?
Yeah, I like Tampa, and we talked about this on Sunday. I trust Tampa. I trust actually Baker Mayfield, a healthy Mike Evans. Coach, we talked about Bucky Irvin and how he's become one of the most dangerous weapons in the National Football League. And I just trust them. I mean, they're experienced. They were one game away from the NFC Championship game last year. They believe in Baker. Todd Bowles, he has an understanding of his team, of the defense, of the offense. I just think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this division. Your thoughts, Coach?
I agree. I think Tampa has momentum now, and Atlanta has some negative momentum. What is going on there? They've had some games where they could have put this division away, and they haven't played their type of football. And we expect Kirk Cousins to lead this group, and he's had some off games. Their pass rush hasn't been great. They got that going a little bit against the Chargers, but I'm just not seeing outstanding football from Atlanta, and they've got some tough games coming up.
Yeah. Let's see that schedule, Rod. I want to hear your thoughts on this schedule. So this is what the Falcons have coming up. A lot of times it comes down to what remains. So they have the Vikings, that's at Minnesota, then at the Raiders, couple of road games, Giants, at the Commanders, and the Panthers. Looks like there's some potential wins there, Rod. What do you see?
I see, the way they played, I see potential of going 2-2 in the division. I mean, 2-2 those last 4 games, last month of the season. The Commanders is a problem. I like the Panthers playing with a lot more energy, and I think maybe a loss. Yeah, maybe a loss Monday night against the Raiders. I'm picking the Raiders.
Yeah. And when I look at schedules, I always look at the away games. And so you're going at Minnesota, at Washington. Those are going to be tough games. Now, can you, and also as Rodney talked about at the Raiders, can you win your home games and hold off? I just don't see that positive momentum coming from Atlanta.
So let's see the other side of it then. This is what is coming up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down the home stretch here. They also have the Raiders. That's in week 14. Then at the Chargers, at the Cowboys. Cowboys have looked a little better as of late. Panthers and Saints to shut it down for your hometown Bucks, Coach Dungy.
Yeah, and if I'm not going to talk like a coach now, I'm going to talk like a fan and say, okay, win our home games, win our 3 home games, which we got to do. Now, can we split on the road? Can we win one of those, Chargers or Cowboys? If we do, we're 4-1. I think that's going to win the division.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. That game at the Chargers, that'd be a tough one, but I do believe they can beat the Cowboys at home and definitely the Panthers and the Saints. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like the way their organization is run. I like them. It's just a really good feel around them.
Yeah, I trust Baker more than Cousins. Any of you guys feel the same way about that? Anybody trust Cousins more?
The whole thing is going to be pass protection. If they can protect Kirk Cousins and have him throw from the pocket, he'll make some things happen. But you play some of these teams that can generate some good pass rush, and it's going to be difficult. And let's start with the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to see a ton of blitzes. He's going to see different looks. He's going to have to get rid of that ball fast. That is not going to be an easy game, Rodney, for Kirk Cousins.
It won't. I mean, he's going to see everything under the sun. And the one thing that I don't like about them, they don't stay committed to running the football. I think, Bijan, he does a great job. He's improved as a runner, but they tend to get away from him and they want Kurt to pass the ball. And you got to get back to running the football. I don't care. Run it 30 times. You got 2 really good quality backs.
They're going to have to run the ball to beat Minnesota. If they don't run it a minimum of 25 times and have some success, they will not beat the Vikings.
Yeah, and NFC South, really interesting division as we come home. NFC West is another one of those. Let's see what's going on with the NFC West right now. It kind of feels like it could be anybody's division still. You have Seattle, who got out there with a little bit of a lead. They're 7-5, 6-6, 6-6 for the Cardinals and the Rams. And then San Francisco, with all the disarray they're dealing with, now falls a couple of games back. Who ends up winning the West, Coach Dungy?
Well, here's my thought right now. This game coming up, Arizona hosting Seattle this Sunday. The winner of that game is going to win this division. If Seattle wins it, they'll be up 2 games, and they'll fight their way through. If Arizona wins it, they even things up. Seattle has a little bit tougher schedule coming down the stretch. I think it's either the Seahawks or the Seahawks or the Cardinals, and I think the winner of this Sunday's game wins the division.
Wow, Coach, that is such a tough one because down deep in my heart, I'm trying to push for the Rams, but I'm with you. The Seahawks, the defense is much improved. Them boys on the defensive side of the ball, they're flying around, creating turnovers, doing their thing, but they have a tough schedule. You have to play Green Bay.
Yes.
You have to play Minnesota. The Chicago Bears won't lay down, and you got to go to the Los Angeles Rams. That's going to be a tough schedule. And I'm looking at the Cardinals, and they got a couple cupcake games up in there with New England and Carolina. But San Francisco will still compete. If I had to choose one, Coach, I'm going to ride with the Seattle Seahawks, improved defense, and I know they can score some points on offense.
And I like the Rams, but again, you look at that schedule there, and they've got some big games coming up. They've got Buffalo, which is going to be a tough one, and then they've got all the division games. So I just think Seattle is in good shape right now if they can win this game at Arizona.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the NFC playoff picture then. This is what it looks like as a whole. Detroit right now out in front. They're 11-1, but it's a little like the AFC where you have Philly who's behind them almost in that Buffalo position where they are hot, one of the hottest teams in football right now, trying to run down Detroit. This conference as a whole, 8-5 is the 7 seed. So the next closest team there in the hunt would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rod, I'll start with you. Looking at the NFC playoff picture, what draws your attention?
Oh, it's Tampa Bay being right behind the Washington Commanders. And if I had to pick one, I would say I like Tampa Bay over the Washington Commanders. I trust Baker more. He's an experienced quarterback. They've had a lot of experience around them. Like I talked about Mike Evans being back healthy and just a rookie quarterback in that moment. We've seen Washington kind of be up and down. I still like Tampa Bay to possibly take over that 7th spot.
Two things I see, Jack, when I look at these standings. Number one, I don't think that the West second place team is going to catch the Commanders. So to me, you've got to win you've got to win the South to get in. You're not going to catch the Commanders. So Tampa or Atlanta, one of them is going to be in, one of them is going to be out. And then the other thing is this North. We kind of anointed Detroit as the team to beat, but Minnesota's got 2 losses. Green Bay's got 3 losses. They all play each other down the stretch. That North race is not over yet. And this is going to be interesting coming down. Those 3 teams are going to make the playoffs, but I don't know what order yet.
And those 3 teams are going to beat each other up and beat each other up within the division. And that's the tough part about playing divisional football in November and the latter part of December, because you beat each other up so much, and that's something that we have to pay close attention to.
Yeah, you guys mentioned some of these big games coming up in the North. Let's get to the big games coming up this weekend. This is week 14. The Packers at the Lions on Thursday Night Football. I will be dialed in for that one. Falcons at Vikings, Seahawks at Cardinals, Bills at Rams, and Chargers at Chiefs. There is some heavyweight bouts, Coach.
There are. And, normally you think, boy, the visiting teams are at a disadvantage. Home teams really should win these games. But the Packers, the mentality that they have and that they're taking, physical football, running the ball, they're going to be okay. They're going to give Detroit all they can handle. And the other thing I'll look at is the Bills and the Rams. We saw the Bills, they looked tremendous Sunday night, but they're going in against the Rams. We saw that run defense give up some plays to McCaffrey and Jordan Mason. Well, the Rams have 2 good backs. Sean McVay is going to pound that ball at that small defense. That's going to be a better game than people think.
And I'm looking at Green Bay and Detroit, and my big question is, will Jordan Love take care of the football? Because you're going against 2 of the best ball-hawking safeties in the National Football League. On the defensive side for the Packers, Xavier McKinney, he's been good. He's been really good, upgrade at safety. And I think the story comes down is which defense, like you just talked about, Coach, can really stop that run game.
And Green Bay is going to need to get their secondary healthy to deal with those Detroit receivers. If Green Bay's got their full complement, they'll give Detroit all they can handle.
Yeah, then you got the Bills at the Rams. I mean, that's one. It's big for the 1 seed in the AFC. Then you look at the West. It's huge for the Rams to just try to keep pace. At least they get to be at home for that. And then Sunday Night Football is going to be awesome. Chargers, who are one of those teams right now that's just come from really nowhere. You didn't know if it was going to take a year for Harbaugh to get his guys in there, make it happen. It has not. It has been year 1, and they're ready to hang with the big ones. Kansas City has looked like they're beatable at times. Rodney, I see you shaking your head. What's your attention with this one going to?
just saying, think about it. Coach Harbaugh could have went to many places. He decided it was a strategic move, Coach, for him. He decided to come to the division, the same division that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in, and he feels like, hey, this is the challenge that I want to take, and I feel like I can develop this team, and we can compete in this division with the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, that makes it very exciting because, like I said, he could have gone anywhere, and he decided to go straight to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' division. This is going to be awesome.
And when he was in the process of building this team, this is exactly what he was thinking of. Arrowhead Stadium in December, cold weather. What are we going to have to do? We're going to have a defense that can shut down Patrick Mahomes, and we're going to have a physical offense that can play in cold weather. And that's what they've developed. Now can they come in and do it? We saw that defense shut down Kirk Cousins. The problem they didn't score any touchdowns offensively against Atlanta. You're not going to be able to win going into Arrowhead and not score a touchdown. So Justin Herbert's going to have to get that offense going. They don't have J.K. Dobbins. Somehow they've got to generate some running game.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that, run the football, and it can't be all Lat McConkey in the passing game. You got to get Quentin Johnson back involved, build his confidence back up, and let your defense go. I think a matchup that I'm looking forward to seeing is Derwin James versus Travis Kelce. And I'm going to have a talk with Derwin and tell him the way you need to cover Travis Kelce. And it should be fun to watch.
Well, hang on now. I got to know what you're going to say. What are you going to say to him on that call?
I'm going to tell you Sunday, but I'm going to have a conversation with him before the game. I'm going to meet with him, and I'm going to tell you, this is what you have to do to slow Travis Kelce down. And we're going to sit back, and we'll see if it works or not.
Okay. Jack, I'm going to tell you exactly what he's going to tell him. Get near the line of scrimmage. Get your hands on him. Don't let him just run off the line of scrimmage anywhere. Get two hands on him and slam him and work with him. Now, here's another conversation. If I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm having with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And I'm telling them, you watched those offensive tackles try to block the Los Angeles Raiders edge rushers. You guys have to dominate this game. That's how we're going to win the game. You guys dominated, get after Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know how Kansas City deals with those two edge rushers. We'll see.
The only thing I'll say, it's a warm front coming through. We checked it right before the start of this show. December football at Kansas City. I mean, we could have been looking at Buffalo weather, but we are not. We're looking at 58 degrees. So pack the swimsuits, gentlemen. We're off to Kansas City. I can't wait to see you Sunday, 7 p.m. We got the Chargers.
Coach
we got
steak on Jack.
Amen. See you guys.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.